Is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back here again, college football talk with the coaches. And today, guys, a lot to talk about, guys. We're going to be talking about, well, first of all, we have to react to the college football rankings. That's going to be one of the first things we talk about. Of course, Coach Shawn is here. He's here. So we definitely got to catch up with Coach Shawn.
Yes.
You guys missed him as well. Coach Smook to my left. Of course, I am Coach Jay. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, so like I said, guys, a lot to talk about college football rankings. Of course, we got to start talking about the Heisman brewing. And, of course, we got to talk about some of the weekly matchups and just so overall some of the biggest news and outlets what's going on with college football. So, guys, what's going on with you guys? Coach Shawn, I'll start with you because you were here on Monday. What's going on with you?
Man, nothing much, man. Nothing much. Back in the house, man, caught the little rankings or whatever. Kind of like how I figured it was gonna go. Kind of make me feel like they trying to set it up for some BS. You know what I mean? But we ready to riot. That's all I'm gonna say. Roll Tide.
Coach Smook, as always, what's going on with you?
Man, you know me. I'm sitting over here. I'm one of those I'm one of those guys. I'm not even standing rankings right now. I'm looking ahead. I just want to win out, bro. Let everything play out. And I'm more excited and to talk about this whole weekend slate. I think people are overlooking a few games. I think we could highlight some games that people might want to pay attention to other than our beatdown we're gonna put on Chattanooga. I think it's some good, interesting games, some interesting situations that are presenting themselves right now. So I'm ready to get into it, bro.
Well, speaking of Chattanooga, because Coach Shawn was not here on Monday, Coach, kind of give me some of the breakdowns of what you think about going into the Chattanooga game on Saturday. Kind of some of the key takeaways you take away from that game, of course, and just highlight some potential impact players that we definitely maybe had not have seen that could get an opportunity to get in the game against Chattanooga.
I want to see more Kendrick Law. I want to see our offense really go out and continue dominance like we did Kentucky. I want to see us pick up where we left off. I want to see Kendrick Law really. I know we can't feature him, but I love to see Kendrick get several touches, whether that be pass game, whether that be reverse from the backfield, whatever the case may be. I want to see Kendrick Law get his hands on the ball, man. I want to see Kool-Aid make a play in the punt return game to get his confidence back where it needs to be. The defense just continue to do what it do. I want to see Terry Young continue to go out and put his stamp on everything. And I want to shut this team out. I want to come out, do what we supposed to do, shut this team out. Don't let them get a point. I'm talking about not even a field goal. Send a statement with this team, do what you're supposed to do, and just dominate. That's kind of everything I want to see in a package.
Yeah, I'm with you the exact same. I kind of talked about this last time, and this is definitely going to be a football game where I think you're going to see a lot of opportunities. Again, Jake, some of the players, Christian Story, who's definitely had a lot. He's definitely gotten some experience, and he's definitely showed some improvement. I know a lot of people are kind of been down on Christian Story, but you look at what he was able to do in the Kentucky game. That's just coming from valuable reps that he was able to get in as a backup, in the games against Tennessee and LSU. So I look at guys like a Jeremiah Alexander. I look at guys more of a Damian Payne who could definitely have a bigger presence into this football game. Again, same thing, Jake Pope, maybe, some players that maybe we haven't even heard of that can get an opportunity, like an Antonio Kite, Des Ricks, could he potentially going to get an opportunity, right? Just a lot of these players, Keon, definitely Akili, who's been on special teams and has, been contributing and working hard. You definitely want to see some of these guys, these valuable reps, because just like in the national championship game, like in Ajayi Hall, like some of these players that we just never even expected to see them in a game, their time came because of injury. So this is going to be one of those games where it's valuable for our rotational players, a lot of our bench players, which are 4- and 5-star quality, to get in the game, have an impact. And I think the most important part is you have film now. Like, you now officially have film work. You can go into next week, take valuable lessons, learn from your mistakes. And when their time is potentially called again, their time is called again. One player that I definitely believe is, we're definitely going to see that he's going to make an impact. I look for Justice Haynes. I think Justice Haynes, a lot of people want Justice Haynes. A lot of people are going to get him because he should be getting his carries, hopefully by halftime, to a point where him and Ty Simpson can once again work together and just form that perfect synergy with each other in the backfield. So that's kind of what I kind of have with that. Coach Smook, you want to, talk about some things maybe to talk about last time before we kind of transition?
I mean, I'm more so. I heard you guys call out a lot of our starters. You know, Arnold, guys that have been just consistent for us this week, but I mean this season. But I'm looking more so towards that second group, man. I really want Ty Simpson to have a chance with this first group, offensive line, this first group lineup. Not so much to show that he's better than Miro or whatever, but there could be an opportunity for him if Auburn decides to take a cheap shot or Miro holds on to the ball too long against Georgia. And we know how aggressive their defense is going to come at him and force him to make plays, the whole game until he finally just sets them in their place. But I would love to see Ty Simpson with the full. I mean, honestly, if we talk about play calling when Ty Simpson did get in the game against Kentucky, we didn't see a difference in play calling. We saw them continue to use the pre-snap motion with the run game. The game was in hand, but third down, they let Ty Simpson sling that thing. He had 3 pass attempts, and he made 2 NFL caliber throws, man. So a game against Chattanooga, I would love to see Ty Simpson have it from, the third quarter, the whole second half. Even if we can get 28 points up in the first quarter, I think this is one of those games where we would see a Tua Tagovailoa type substitution. Yeah. When everybody was saying that, I know we were talking in chats that season when Tua was around, and he was getting set, and Jalen Hurts, it was Jalen Hurts getting the passing reps, and we were seeing his growth. We don't have that type of situation here. We know what Ty Simpson presents as far as a passing quarterback, the prototypical quarterback that we will want in that phase of the game. And I think even he surprised a lot of fans with his athleticism, being that he made that play and scrambled and did what he did. So I'm excited to see what Ty is going to do this game. And hopefully it can be done with the first group. But to jump to the other side, man, that second defensive group, man, with Jeremiah Alexander, Quay Rusaw, Q Rob on the edge, Damon Payne on the D-line. Who's the second? I think they had Renard at tackle for that grouping. I want to believe. Who was?
I think it was Jordan Renard. It might have been.
Yeah, I think they slid him into the tackle when Payne was out there. And Payne is sneaky because he's a wide body, but he moves like an edge body. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all been paying attention to how he kind of has been disruptive, but he moves like an edge body. He don't move like a D tackle body like he's built. He moves like an edge body. So he's basically like a smaller Boygby. I feel like those two guys have transitioned good into that defensive end role. So I'm excited, guys.
Looking at the chat here, guys. Shout out to Car Conversations Podcast, Zeke Lott, Katrina. Of course, Katrina, you definitely got to be in here.
Shout out Katrina.
Of course, you got motivated, dedicated. Of course, Chief 16 Wheels. Appreciate you guys for stopping by the chat. Again, for the most part, we really appreciate. Again, we know it's late. It's late, so we appreciate you guys for stopping by for us. But kind of making the transition, we got to talk about these rankings just real quick. I know Coach Smook, you want to talk about the rankings, but we do. We got to get Shawn in here.
Oh no, I want to talk about them tonight.
Yeah, I'm just because it's a rough one. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's a rough one. So Alabama, we're not going anywhere. We're stuck at number 8 for the most part. The only movement is that Georgia is at number 1, and I think the biggest talk is not even the fact that we're number 8. Because let's be honest here, we're not surprised we're not surprised at all. We know that for the most part we're going to need some help. And this is a committee that's unpredictable, but it is the fact that Georgia, there's this. They moved up all the way to number 1. And a lot of people have been saying that it's been SEC bias. Obviously, Tennessee pretty much drops all the way down to 18. A lot of people think that they shouldn't even be in the top 25. I think there's certainly an argument for it because they have not been any top teams. But then there's the Missouri moving up to number 9. There's Penn State moving all the way to number 12. And Penn State fans and pretty much Joe Klatt and all these, the Colin Cowards of the world, pretty much everyone from Fox, is pissed off that Penn State is moved down all the way to 12 when Louisville, one-loss team, is like right behind them, and Oregon State is also at number 11. So when you take a look at these rankings, kind of what do you guys think about it? Besides obviously us being at number 8, kind of what do you think about the rankings? And do you just feel that this committee is just once again not really following their criteria when it comes to their overall rankings?
It goes back to what I was saying last week, Jay. This committee is going to continue to be consistently inconsistent. And You know, how are you going to highlight Ohio State when, you know, and their win wasn't a highly touted ranked win, you know, even early in the season. And you're discounting Georgia, who's playing, you know, their strength of schedule has definitely been strengthened towards the end of the season. They are facing ranked SEC opponents every week for the past 2 weeks now,
2
because they
weeks.
have Missouri, and then they got Tennessee this week. Tennessee is ranked, so I mean, it's I don't get it. I don't get it, and it's bothersome. Definitely a disrespect to the SEC. Georgia has definitely been the most consistent team as far as progressively getting better and maintaining their number one status, defending champ status. The only team playing close to that caliber of football is the team we love, you know, Alabama. And that's not being biased. That's literally putting on the film and saying, man, Alabama is the only team that can compete with Georgia right now. And that's why I see it. And the committee, for them not to be taking that into consideration with the resumes and strength of schedule and all that, they're talking about early season losses matter, and this it's a bunch of crap. It's inconsistent. So I'm kind of over the committee. I'm just concerned about winning out and seeing how that plays out, because then that's when we'll know what their real criteria is.
For me, before I even give my spiel, let me give a shout out to Motivated, Dedicated, and James Richardson.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I love them.
Georgia
Hey,
fans.
them some good Georgia fans, bro.
Shout out to y'all, bro. I'm glad y'all up in here, man. You know, it's all in good, it's all in love, it's all in fun. You know, after we beat y'all, we're gonna shake y'all hand and move on to the next. So let me say this. These rankings, man, suck to me. You know, I do want to watch the rankings. I care about every one of them, first one to the last one, because regular fans don't understand what we understand. You can see it setting up for the okie doke. You could see it. They don't let us move up. We beat two teams that a lot of those teams ahead of us wouldn't beat, and you don't even let us move at all. And I keep hearing this, and it's setting it up for it, bro. Penn State suck. First of all, they're bloviating these teams, so when the Big Ten teams beat them, they can be like, "Whoa, they beat Penn State. That's a great resume." No, it's not. Penn State would lose to Ole Miss right now. So let me say this, man. I just feel a headache coming on with these rankings, bro. They valuing these teams to me that Alabama would whip, straight up whip right now. And I get it. I'd rather see Texas in front of Oregon. I just rather see Texas in front of Oregon, me personally, because that'll make our value. We played them, right? We could have played Hubba Bubba University in the first couple of weeks. We chose to play Texas, and we're getting penalized for it, right? These guys beat us barely at home in the second week of the season, right? So it's like, what I don't understand what pattern these guys are taking. And I feel like this every year. I'm it's like the more I listen to the committee, the dumber I get.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my God, Shawn. I'm
Straight up,
sorry to cut
man.
you off. I felt like that earlier today because I almost considered one of their takes,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, that does make no." What the
No,
hell
it
am
don't.
I talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah. So I don't get it, guy. I don't get it, guys. It's like, what do you just tell me what you guys value, right? Is it strength of record, strength of schedule, excuse me? Is it wins? Is it most deserving teams? Is it the best team? I test like what do you guys value? Because to have Oregon in front of Texas and Bama is confusing to me. I just
Coach
really,
Jay.
really pray. I'll finish with this. I really pray, man, because I'm crossing my fingers to the football heavens that Washington lose and Oregon lose. You know what I mean? I even want Texas to lose. And I got some Texas friends. We need these guys to lose, man, because it's like I think this hurdle that we're behind, they're not gonna let us jump it.
They
As long
not
as they're winning. As long as they're winning.
now. I want to have because Coach Jay alluded to a point that I made last week about Georgia, and you see what when I said Georgia is going to get back to number one at some
Yeah.
point, right? My thing is, Coach Jay, and you made a great point, you know, countering my point. Now that Georgia's at number one, Georgia, I believe they're going to beat Tennessee. I believe Georgia's going to blow Georgia Tech out. That's going to keep them at number one. With a 14, 17-point win over Georgia, get us into the college football playoffs, even if we don't break into the top six. Coach J?
Coach J? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. No, I couldn't. For some reason, my stuff cut off. Can you repeat that? What you said?
I was saying, could with Georgia being number 1, we're being number 8.
Yep.
If I honestly believe Georgia will handle Tennessee. If Georgia loses to Tennessee, that's bad for us, in my opinion.
Very bad. Very bad.
No, Georgia can't lose a game. They cannot lose a game.
But I believe Georgia handles Tennessee, and I believe they blow out Georgia Tech. But if we go in and we beat Georgia, and I'm Georgia fans in here, don't take this as me assuming that we're going to beat Georgia, because I think it's going to be a good game when we play Georgia. I feel like if you all don't prep the right way, though, we'll get into that later. I ain't going to go there. But if we beat a Georgia team 14, 17 points, we're number 8, they're number 1. Do we get in the playoffs, Coach J?
I'll say this. If we destroy Georgia, if we beat them by multiple touchdowns and the game isn't even close, it's not even Bama's pretty much controlled it for all 4 quarters, I think, yes, they would get in. However, I will say this. If we win that game close, and if it's a back and forth competitive game, let's say like a 2018 or even like a 2012 type game, I think we don't get in. I think as long as Texas, because they're going to hold, I'm telling like Coach Shawn's been saying, Sark, he did it today. Sark keeps reminding everyone about we beat Bama by 10.
Alabama. Yep.
We beat them by 10. We can we even controlled the clock for 7 minutes. And we didn't even give the ball back to them. We won that game by pretty much running the football and controlling that clock by dominant fashion. So he is going to hang that win over their head, because the whole point of strength of record is to pretty much predetermine if these teams were to get together, which team would survive. And they base team off of strength of record. Well, this is one of those rare occasions where the result happened. The result already happened. And unless we're in a tricky situation where you have a 2-loss team, or a non-division type champion, for the most part, it's, they're not going to get in. Like I always keep even a couple years ago when we beat Georgia for the SEC championship game and Georgia was still let in, if Oklahoma State would have won that game against Baylor, they would have gotten over Georgia.
Exactly.
We would have been the national champion.
That's where my confidence lies, Jay. That's where my confidence lies. When the obvious starts to present themselves, rivalry and conference championship weekend. When that's, to me, that's when the obvious presents itself. And if you're going to put any weight on any game in the season, that conference championship game should matter. Especially when you're talking about an undefeated Georgia and a 1-loss Alabama. If Alabama can pull off that win, and you're talking about, and I'm assuming that Georgia's going to stay at number 1. I don't think Ohio State has a chance to jump Georgia anymore, or Michigan. I don't think, even if their game is a tight game, I don't think neither one of those teams have.
The loser of that game is out. They're out.
Yeah, they have to be. There's no way you take a 1-loss Ohio State team who has not played but one ranked team this whole season. No, Michigan's only played one ranked team because they played. Michigan played. Was it Penn State? That was their only ranked game. So if Michigan goes in and lose to Ohio State, they can't even be top 8. They don't get our position. They go to 9 because you just moved Missouri up for losing to number 2 Georgia. So you take Ohio State to number 9. You move us up to 6 coming into the conference play. We beat Georgia. There's no way you don't switch those positions. You put Georgia to 5, you put us at 3, 4, 2, whatever. We might not get number 1, but beating the number 1 team has to account for something, because literally losing to the number 2 team accounted for something for Georgia, right? How do you start number 11 and then you lose, or whatever number they was, and you lose to the team and you move up in rankings? How does that happen?
Because they destroyed Tennessee, which was a ranked opponent. That's why they moved up.
Tennessee got destroyed by Georgia. They got destroyed by not Georgia. They got destroyed by Alabama. I keep saying Georgia because I see it happening. You
know what? This is why the committee, even though we're number 8 and Texas number 7, notice how the committee started off. They didn't start off with the reasons why Georgia flipped and stuff like that. They started off with Alabama.
Right.
They said we were impressed with Alabama because they're a lot better. They're a better team than what they were in week 2 to now. So that's telling me Tennessee, the fact that they didn't drop even out of the, because Tennessee shouldn't be ranked. I'll be the first one to say it. They're not a ranked team, but they stayed there at 18, I think, for a reason. Maybe there is some sort of SEC bias. I don't know, and I don't care. As long as it benefits Alabama to get in, that's fine. But I think the committee's I think they're getting impatient with Texas because Texas has not played like a top 4 team. They have not even played like a top 10 team. They have more games struggled than we do. Struggling against Houston, winning that game by 3 points. Letting a TCU team score over 22 points on you in the second half in a game that you should have won that game by blowout. The second half of the game against Wyoming, the Kansas State game when you should have lost. Listen, I understand Quinn Ewers is there, but now you have evidence that even when he comes back, you're still not a better team. You're still not a better team with Quinn easily coming back because you guys have not proven on the football field against some solid competition that they're okay. Now all of a sudden you're going on the road into Iowa State. We'll highlight this, but you're going on the road to an Iowa State football team, and then you have BYU after that. Continue to play around. Continue to struggle against these non-opponents, because then all of a sudden you're just going to give Alabama more ammunition. Those rankings and what the committee kept start off with Alabama, I think I don't think they're nervous at that. I think that they're continuing to prove that Texas, you have to show me something. Although, because we're getting impatient. Like I said, you beat Alabama head to head, but trust me, you continue to play like that, and Alabama continues to play better, we will put them above you.
Coach Jay, I'm over here about to jump out my seat because literally everything you're saying is what I've been talking about. Coach Shawn, my question to you is, and just like I gave it to Coach Jay with the scenario, you come out, we get a Washington L, you know what I'm saying? Oregon's already ahead of us. We get a Texas L, Texas is ahead of us. Washington's strength of schedule doesn't match up to the Alabama's, nor does Oregon's. Only Oregon opponent that's been ranked, they lost to Washington. So if they come back around and win, we win out ours against Georgia, number 1 team. Ohio State or Michigan lose. Either one of them lose. I think, like you said, Coach Jay, they out. What's the path look like if Washington suffers a loss? And people keep forgetting, Florida can beat Florida State. Florida has shown up for halves in this season. They have shown up and looked like a team that can win for halves. Florida State has shown up and showed that they are susceptible to getting whooped. Boston College took Florida State to the wire. What happens if Florida State loses this weekend? Does that clear the path for us even more, Coach Shawn?
Oh, they're done.
You know what, bro? I'm not as optimistic as y'all, man.
I love it. That's why I asked him.
I just not, man. Because and the reason why I said that, Coach Smook, Coach Jay, is because I'm watching these guys give every other team the opportunity to stay there. Right?
Yeah.
It's just what Coach Jay just said. Texas should have been dropped. They should have been dropped, man. If you're gonna penalize Georgia for struggling with Auburn and not because dude said, well, they struggle with Auburn. Okay, well, you need to penalize Texas then, man, because they hadn't looked very good at all. That's why Steve keep pressing that button. That's his caveat, because he want to, But here's the thing. I think this year more than ever, human affiliation is gonna influence these rankings. They clearly want to get a Pac-12 school in there. Clearly, for some reason, they're going to give these. It wouldn't shock me one bit if Washington lose to somebody in the next couple of weeks, next 2-3 weeks, and they still keep them at 8, 9, 7, 8. I mean, that it doesn't shock me at all. And don't forget, last year, I know we had 2 losses, and that might be the reason why Ohio State really got in. Ohio State and Michigan played last year. I think Michigan was 2 and Ohio State was 4 or 5 or whatever it was. They played Michigan win, and Ohio State still didn't drop. Like if I remember, they stayed in the same place. They didn't even drop, which allowed them to get in the playoff or something like that. It was some weird stuff that happened with Ohio State that allowed them to get right back in the playoffs. So I think it's a lot of bias, and they say SEC bias, and it may be, but they have clearly shown that this year they have an opportunity to get some new teams in there, some new blood, and they're trying. They're hoping it all works out. I personally believe that Texas is going to have to lose because I think that the committee fear the vitriol of the fan base of the Texas fans. I really do. I believe they fear that. I don't think they want that problem with the Texas fans. That's why they keep giving them an opportunity to stay in front of us. Texas should have been dropped behind us. You know, they should have been dropped behind us. So to keep them right there, and I sort of got discouraged after this win. I said, okay, they should have boosted us up after the LSU win. They didn't. Okay, fine. We go out and dominate Kentucky. Move us up, man. They didn't even let us move. So that tells me, what do you value? Do you value the head? And he kept speaking on head to head. Well, you know, head to head's got to matter. Da, 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 da. Okay, cool. Head to head got to matter. But what balances it out when the team who won head to head isn't playing well? I say again, Kyler Murray, Oklahoma 2018. Texas beat them.
Jesus Christ, they whooped them.
And then Texas wasn't playing well toward the end of the season, sort of similar to this year. They played again in the Big 12 championship, and Oklahoma waxed them, man. So just because a team beat you in week 2 does not mean they're better than you at the end of the season.
You know what else, Coach Shawn, before Coach Jay go, if you don't mind?
No, go ahead.
This Oregon team, I feel like they getting too much hype too. But they have some matchups ahead of them that I feel like they can really drop the ball on. I mean, Washington. I didn't mean to say Oregon, but Washington. Oregon State is going to get them guys a game this weekend. DJ Ungulele and that offense. Oregon's defense presents opportunities for this type of team. When you got a team like Arizona putting up 24, California putting up 32, Utah put up 28. Utah is not an offensive-driven team, but they was able to hang with Washington 4 quarters last week. I think Oregon State has the potential to beat them, but not only that, but Texas is sitting here looking as if they got a shoe in. They at Iowa State at 8 p.m. That is a creepy game. Iowa State is kind of like Jordan Hare for the Big 12. Iowa State has produced a lot of big upsets late in the season these past 3 or 4 years. Y'all look at them boys.
4 times out of 5. They beat them 4 times out of 5 at home. They don't lose to them at home.
Exactly. And this Texas team is not week 2 Texas where nobody has film on them and they're playing against 2 safeties in a new, in a system where they're just growing into. Like that's where Texas beat us at the safety position. You take away the play they got on Caleb Downs, we literally end that game. And you give us the 2 scores that you call back, we win that game. Yep. So Texas didn't beat us. We beat ourselves.
Don't forget 14 that, like points called. That's a whole fact. Like Coach Smook said, 2 scores, man. Make my
14 points that they called. You get what I'm saying? 14 points that they took away from us is literally the difference. Even if you keep the penalties outside of those scores you took away from us, we win by 4. That team was not better than us. We beat ourselves. And then for them to come into T-Town and do it, yeah, I get you want to say that, but look at what they had. Look at their roster compared to ours. The amount of senior leadership. They should have beat us by 16, 18. But they didn't. We went in there as a green squad, freshman left tackle, first-year starter quarterback, true freshman at safety. I mean, just young guys everywhere and literally beat ourselves. This committee better open their doggone eyes before I pull up. You know what I'm saying?
I do. Yeah, I do.
That's gonna be the tough part. That is definitely
the question, Coach Jay, before you go. Is that true what Ashley A. Parrish said? The championship game is out west this year. They're giving
the games are going to be in the Fiesta Bowl and the Rose Bowl. Those are the playoff games, and I think the championship game. I think it's going to be in, I believe in San Fran somewhere or Kendall. I forgot. It's in the West though. It's in the West though. We are not having any. Yeah, all the games are going to be out west.
Yeah, that's coincidence, awful, bro. Yeah, facts.
Is that a coincidence? Yeah, it's just it's kind of ridiculous. But no, I kind of was while Coach Smook was kind of looking up the location. Now, I agree with you. Oregon being at number 6 is an absolute travesty. And the reason why they're at number 6 is because they said that they're the most consistent football team. They're the most consistent. They've been dominating a lot of the competition. But then you take a look at Oregon's schedule. Again, they only one team that they beat is ranked, and that's Utah. The other team that they played was Washington, which they lost. Every other team that they played against, for the most part, Oregon, for the most, I mean, they're not ranked. Matter of fact, a lot of those schools are not even within the top 50 in the country. Right. So it's just, for me, this is why I hate AP rankings. I hate AP rankings because the College Football Playoff Committee clearly showed that they just base off their ranking. They're based off.
That's all they looking at.
Off the AP poll. They base it off the coaches poll, US Today, and the AP rankings, and they just form that together. again, guys, the committee is too afraid. And it's funny because if you look at the top 10, teams barely move up and down, but then you go to the teens all the way to the 20s. Teams are jumping up 5, 6, 7 slots. Teams are moving down 5, 6, 7 slots after a loss, and then all of a sudden, the absolute. Do you see the arrogance and the hypocrisy when it comes to their criteria? Like again, why? Listen, I'll be the first one to say Tennessee should not be a ranked football squadron. Why did they only drop by 5 slots after getting embarrassed? But yet you have a team like Liberty, Tulane is not moving up, or even James Madison. James Madison, you got 2 undefeated teams that are not even going to be in the part of the conversation. North Carolina, I mean, they had some of the most embarrassing losses, 2 of the most embarrassing losses in the country, yet they only, 23 is absolutely ridiculous. So, no, I just, it's just one of those things. I'm with Coach Moog at this point. We just got to play it out and just see what happens at the end of the day.
That's it, Jay.
Nothing you can do. It's just nothing you can do. You just got to play it out. It's just nothing you can do at the end of the day.
That's it, Jay. And as Bama fans, and not as Bama fans, not to get into this moral victory stuff, but we just have to live with the fact this has happened in the past with the BCS. It's been teams that were undefeated that we feel like could have competed for that 1 or 2 position. But when you talking about playoffs, man, you want the 4 best teams, And if last year I didn't mind Bama not making it because you got 2 losses. You're not a conference champion. You got 2 losses. You may look like the best team against in the Iron Bowl against Auburn, but you didn't. You can't have 2 losses and try to make a case without a conference championship. That's just me. But this year, knowing that we're playing for a conference title, I feel like we definitely deserve some more respect. But to get to where those games are being played this year, you got the Rose Bowl, which is in California. That's one of the semifinals. Then you got the Sugar Bowl, which is in New Orleans. So y'all know we go to New Orleans and we have our time. We love the Superdome. But to have the national championship in Houston, Texas, that's weird as crap to me. How do you take the Natty to Houston? NRG Stadium is nice, but how do you go to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got so many other venues. How do we get the years where we trending? How do we get these trash these trash locations? Even when the years they sent us to Arizona was like the matchups was trash. It just continues to show you that this human bias in this committee is not making the college football playoffs look like what it was designed to look like, getting the 4 best teams. And that's exactly, and that's but also that's my reason why I feel like they won't keep Alabama out. You look at how the ratings are when Alabama is in the playoffs. Last year was the lowest ratings since Alabama missed the playoffs.
And guess what they talked about the whole playoffs?
Alabama.
You right. It may make Georgia fans mad, but if you're a real football fan, like seriously, Georgia fans, no disrespect, but if you are real and be real with yourself, when they said it, when we didn't make it and they let Ohio State in, all they talked about every day was why Alabama wasn't in.
Would Alabama be a better competition? Would Alabama?
Yeah.
I brought my cup for a reason tonight, y'all. I told my bros backstage it was one of them nights because these college football rankings don't make sense, so I just been sipping to it.
Let me say this too, and I like to engage with the chat guys, and it's never disrespectful. We always have a good time going back and forth.
Oh yeah,
But I want to be real. See, for me, my guys will tell you I have a saying, and it's called the truth is in the details. Right? You'll never lie to yourself if you always remember about everything in life. The truth is in the details of it. And here's a detail for all you Georgia fans. Yes, y'all are 2-time national champions. Us Bama fans know how hard it is to win a national championship, so we respect it, bro. Don't think just because we go back and forth with y'all, we don't respect it. We respect Georgia. Winning is hard, especially when everybody gunning for you, right? But we done won 6 of them things, bro. 6 of them in like the last 12 years or so. And remember this, my partner's son played at y'all school. I ain't gonna call his name. He told me, I asked him, I think I said his name on the last live, but
you did by accident. But
yeah, his son played there. And let me tell you a little nugget that I can say. Your team, whether your fans want to be honest about this or not, your team knows what that crimson and white gonna bring, because they was all huddled up in the hotel watching Alabama's football game. And I remember last year when we didn't make it, it was Jamari Sawyer or whatever his name was. He had played center. I think graduated. He said on one of the social media platforms, He didn't say Bama. He said when the team from Tuscaloosa didn't make it, I knew we was gonna win. So you can say what you want to say, but your team know who their competition is. Your team didn't play us last year. Your team is 1-5 in the last 6 years, 6 times we played y'all. You can lie to yourself all you want. You can beat your chest about being national champions. We respect it. But you better believe one thing, Georgia fans, is one team out there that Kirby Smart knows that he got to deal with this year, and it's them Crimson Tide boys. That's just the honest God knows truth. Same way we know we're going to deal with y'all. Please know that.
Yeah, and and like I said, guys, it's not that long because next week is every week, and then boom, SEC championship game is going to be right there this weekend. So, guys, we got to make the transition because we do got to talk about some of these key matchups. And speaking of a game where, of course, that Bama fans or even who knows, maybe some Georgia fans, because we got Georgia fans in the chat, would probably take a look at. We got to talk about Texas versus Iowa State. We do got to talk about this one because this is the upset. This is the one game that a lot of people are predicting. Hey, out of the 2 games, this is going to be one. Iowa State has won 4 out of the last 5 matchups at home. And, of course, Texas has some bad news for them. They lost Jonathan Brooks, one of the best running backs in the country. They lost him for the season. I forgot what the injury was, but he is unfortunately
ACL, man.
Okay. Yes, that's a brutal injury, and that's probably going to take him a while for him to get back.
6 months.
Oh, man, that's brutal. So, but yeah, so you lose him. So now you have to rely on Cedric Baxter. You have to rely on former Alabama running back Killian Robinson to see if he can take some of the load. And this is a Texas team that just has not looked comfortable. They have not put together a complete game. Quinn Ewers, again, he just got back from injury, but that second half was awful. It was an awful performance. Their defense they had to rely on the defense in the running game to win. And this is an Iowa State. I mean, this is coming from one of their guards from Iowa State. Again, I'm not going to quote it verbatim for verbatim, but that pretty much what he was saying is that they're human beings. They have not beaten us here in a long time, and we are going to pretty much kick their tail, right? Yep. That's the clean version, but pretty much for him, it's pretty much saying
this again, Coach Jay.
The guard, I forgot the name, but he's a guard for Iowa State. He's a guard for Iowa State, and he's a senior cap. He's been there. And he's pretty much said, we're not afraid of Texas. They're human beings just like how we are. We're going to beat them. And he said, this is and he pretty much said, we are going to send them off to the SEC kicking their tail, pretty much. So this is an Iowa State football team. They're not afraid of Texas. They're all pumped up. They know, I mean, like I said, Matt Campbell has always got those teams coached up properly. However, should Iowa State or some of us kind of feel a little bit nervous, because even though I think we all kind of consider this potentially an upset, this, if you're Steve Sarkisian, this could be used as bulletin material potentially, and who knows, maybe Texas comes out playing a little bit angry. Kind of give me your thoughts about the game with Texas and Iowa State.
Shout out Jonathan Hurst. What's up, Jonathan?
Yeah, Jonathan Hurst, one of our channel members in the chat, man. Appreciate you for pulling up tonight. Hey, if you all want those special shout outs and those special, y'all know we acknowledge everybody, but you want to be the special shout out anytime you come in, it ain't got to be a super chat. Go ahead and become a member on the channel, Bama Football on YouTube with Kyle Henderson. Become a member. We have 3 different, memberships you can get. So you can go in there, join the membership, see which one best fits your budget or whatever, and continue to support us. We definitely appreciate it. Jonathan, really appreciate you, brother. Right. I think he has that second level, looks like big money, big dollars. But yeah, like you were saying, Coach Jay, this matchup is definitely a tricky one. Iowa State, like I said, they've historically have always been a tricky defensive team. They know they've always been able to scheme guys and put them in good positions to be effective. And even when their offense has been trash, their defense is what has kept them in the game. What I think they present though is the ability to get Quinn Ewers, and I think Iowa is a team that doesn't mind taking a quarterback out. They don't mind losing a player for taking a quarterback out. I mean, they are gritty like that. They're not dirty, but they're gritty. They will put a late hit on your quarterback. That's what they do. They are physical defensively. Offensively, they're up and down. But against a Texas defense that has shown a lot of struggles, uncharacteristic struggles the past few weeks, literally gave up what they gave up in the second half this past week, Shawn, Jay?
Over 22.
Yeah, like it was crazy to see them just get marched down the field on. So at Iowa State, night game. This is poised to be an upset, man. I would love to see it. Just get Texas out the way, because I feel like Texas loses, then you got Oregon has that pressure on them later on that night, in the season. Washington got that pressure on them. Like, teams are going to start feeling that pressure while Alabama is being fueled by the disrespect. So I would love to see the Iowa State upset. Go ahead, Coach J. I'm sorry.
Oh no, Coach Shawn, kind of your
Coach
opinion.
Shawn, my fault.
For me, I'll take the other side of it just to make good content. I think Iowa State has their number, but I want to see, can they deal with Texas in late game play calling situations. Steve Sarkisian is really, really good late game. That cat always finds a way to put the ball in the end zone, man. I want to see, can Iowa State put that pressure on Texas for 4 full quarters. They did in the past, like you guys said. Can't deny that. But this Texas team always seems to find a way to win, man, even when it doesn't look very good. So, and that's signs of a really good team, honestly. They won some games without Quinn Ewers. That's like Jalen Milroe going down. They still find a way to win the game, man. And I think that's going to be the uphill battle for this Texas team against, well, as far as Iowa State, I think that's going to be the test for this Iowa State team against this Texas team. Also, Jane Richardson, we appreciate y'all, man. Much love from Bama to Georgia, man. Let's get it. So that's the thing for me, man. I want to see, can Iowa State really apply that pressure to this Texas team for 4 full quarters.
Yeah, and I will say this: Iowa State's not a good pass rushing team. They only have 17 sacks of the year. They don't have a high pressure rate. Their main pressure is by simply stacking the box and just simply setting both their insides to go after them. They not a good pass, but that's Iowa State, right? They play. I think
they've been doing that for years, bro.
Yeah, they're not that type of team, but they give you a bunch of exotic blitz packages. They'll try to confuse you as much as they possibly can. And Iowa State, I think they gave Texas fits last year. They gave Steve Sarkisian some fits and problems, because that was kind of one of the teams that, even though Texas runs a lot of motion and they definitely will get you out of position, Iowa State didn't really fall for it at all. So it's a very interesting game. A lot of trash talk already, and maybe some bulletin material for Steve Sarkisian. Who knows? But kind of focusing on the next game, Washington versus Oregon State. This is an interesting game, because Oregon State's a favorite, guys. They're a favorite. They're a 3.5 favorite right now. I'm sorry. They're minus 3-point favorite over Washington. And this is another game at home for Oregon State. Of course, you have DJ Uiagalelei. Not the most accurate passer, is only completing 58% of his passes, but we all know he's got a cannon. He's got a bazooka. 6'4", 240 type guy. They can run. They have one of the better running backs for the program since Jaquez Rogers. I bet you some of you guys don't remember that name.
Right.
Little Jaquez.
I miss Jaquez, man. I hate he left.
You said it was at Oregon State?
It's at Oregon State.
He there now.
Home. And they're undefeated. They have not lost a game at home. Both their games have lost on the road. And Oregon State is one of those teams, man. They have a solid scoring defense. They can defend against the run extremely well. And they're physical up front. These are one of these. They can match Washington up front. So a very interesting game. But this is really the first game where a top-ranked opponent is an underdog. They're the underdog going into this game. So kind of give your thoughts about this game, because this is one of these games where Washington lose could very well be their death sentence. Kind of, Coach Shawn, we'll start with you. What do you think about this game so far going into Saturday?
The only thing that really scares me about this game, as far as any game that Washington plays, is they have an extremely, and I'm gonna put extremely in bold letters, seasoned. I ain't gonna say old as hell. Seasoned quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. And anytime you got a quarterback that's seen it all like that, a la Bo Nix, they're gonna give you a chance to be in that game at some point. I'm really hoping. I don't know how important or how hostile the home environment is at Oregon State. I'm not really
not that loud.
Right. I'm not really up on Oregon State that much. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Michael Penix has saved that team multiple times. That dude has seen it all. I'm really hoping, embracing the fact that Oregon State will come out with that DJU will come out and understand the importance of this game. How many eyeballs will be on this game in the track? It's not a lot of eyeballs being on a lot of Pac-12 games, because those guys obviously are 3 hours ahead of me in the South. So when their games come on, obviously it's 11 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock there. So it's gonna be a lot of eyeballs on this game. So I'm hoping they embrace that everybody gonna be watching, and he play well. He's gonna have to play well to play against Michael Penix. It's not really Washington that I have a concern about. It's that quarterback, man. That guy has seen everything. He puts his team in position. Look at the Oregon game. Regardless of how bad he played, he kept putting his team in a position to win, even after Oregon scored late. So when you have that veteran QB, man, it's very tough, man, to beat a team. But going on the road in college football means something. So let's see what happens.
Coach Smook.
Look, man, I'm just looking at the stats right now. I'm looking at numbers, and Oregon is so spread out offensively. But I want to jump to the defensive side. These guys they have some guys that play the ball. They have 12 interceptions right now on the season. And we know the Pac is a pass-heavy league, right? 41 pass breakups. That's like, you think about how many pass attempts the Pac-12 has right now, between starting quarterbacks, and I think it's like 600. To be at 40 pass deflections for a team, you know what I'm saying? That's a crazy ratio, man. I know 600 to 41 sounds like, oh, that's weak, but you think about, this is 600 pass attempts against the league, not just against this team. So I haven't got into the stats to break it down, the pass attempts against this team, but to have 41 at Alabama, more so because of our pass rush, we don't have 41 pass breakups. I think we're sitting right there at 30, 34, something like that. But this Pac-12 team, they defend what the conference is, mostly likes to do. And they create turnovers. So Bo Nix is susceptible to turnovers. Michael Penix is susceptible to turnovers. So I like Oregon State. Oregon State, they was able to create some fits for Bo Nix. I feel like they could do the same with Washington. My thing is, Washington's defense hasn't faced an offense that can produce and score like Oregon State since Oregon. And even when they caught Oregon, I believe they caught Oregon on just a bad night. Honestly, I feel like Oregon and Washington see each other again. I would love to see Washington lose tonight, and I would love to see them go back and beat Oregon again. Because if that happens, that definitely puts us ahead of both of those teams. It might slide Texas in if they win out, but Oregon State definitely presents the best, talent-wise, offensively, the best team on this schedule left to really compete and challenge Oregon. I mean, not Oregon, but Washington.
Well, like Damien Martinez, man, one of the best running backs in the country, already has 1,000 yards so far this season. One of the most underrated aspects for Oregon State, they have 36 sacks. Alabama has 32. So they have dogs. I mean, first of all, you look at a guy like Andrew Chatfield Jr., 9 sacks of the season. He's a monster coming off the edge. They got, both their inside linebackers got 4.5 sacks. I mean, they're a very, very exotic team, man. One of the more confusing teams to definitely play against.
Dang, Jay, you just made me think of something too. Look at the fumbles too. Look at how many fumbles they forced.
Yep.
They're basically almost forcing a fumble a game, bro.
They're one of the most heavy blitz teams in the country. And maybe that could be a matchup that Penix can take advantage of, but they don't. This is not an Oregon State team that can. I'm sorry, Coach. What'd you say?
No, my fault, man. I was just trying to say, can one of you guys fact check that? It's Ed Keeley says Reser Stadium, where Oregon State plays, has 35,000 capacity. Is that?
They don't have a lot of fans. I think it's
wow.
accurate. They don't have a lot of fans. It's a very small stadium. It's a very small stadium. But
I'm about to look it up, Sean. Oregon State.
We can fact check that, but
that's what I played in. Yeah, that's what I played in front of every. Good Lord, 35.
Right, I played in front of that as a NAIA school. Look, like man. Oh, it is 35,000. Their capacity is
so I don't know how hostile that's gonna be, bro. I'm sorry. Maybe it will be. They're undefeated at home, so hey, let's go.
I done been to some Texas high school games that got right at 35K, and it's been crazy. So
yeah, I've been to Allen. I've been to an Allen game, dude. With like what, 35K? Oh God, yeah.
Duncanville fans travel all across Texas. They go to the San Antonio region and show up. I'm talking about Duncanville shows up, and like Duncanville is like maybe 2 or 3 counties together of people, good home country folks. So when they travel, they pulling up in your parking lot, engines leaking oil and everything. So you know what I'm saying? So it's I wonder if Oregon State has that type of crowd. If not, I think they just match up skill wise, Jay and Sean. Like for real, they really do.
Yeah.
Anybody else in the Pac-12, even USC, I knew they wasn't going to be able to do that defensively, and we saw that they let that game hang around.
Let me answer this with Kane Kirby. That's actually a really good question.
Here we go. I'm gonna put it up there.
That's a really good question, Kane. At this point, I think we all agree that pretty much anybody that's in front of Bama, we need them to lose, bro. I mean, it always helps. I mean, I understand where you're going, Kane. I get it. They have Oregon in front of us, but if Washington loses and then turn around and beat Oregon in the Pac-12, Oregon's over. They're done. You know, Oregon.
They're both done. If Oregon State wins tonight, and if Washington beats Oregon, it's done.
Yeah.
So, not even arguing anymore.
So, and then just to kind of piggyback on and answer that question even deeper, you got to think we're assuming that Georgia is going to remain number one. That's where it helps us if Washington loses, because if Georgia remains number one past Washington's loss, even if Washington goes to number 6 and Oregon goes to number 5 or whatever, however they try to figure it, a 7 win over 1 or 8 win over 1 definitely puts you at number 3 or 4. I don't care how you put it. With a 1-loss conference championship, regardless of the conference, and I mean, what point am I missing? Conference championship, 1 loss, strength of schedule is there, rank wins is there. How do you keep Alabama out of the playoffs when you
lost to Texas, the team in front of you?
But they got to handle Iowa. So and like I said, they got to win their conference to get in. Honestly,
very true.
They have to win it. And Oklahoma, we've been talking about it. It's hard to beat a team twice in the season, especially in college football. But if there was a game or a team that could do it, it'll be Oklahoma, Texas. That matchup, you never know how it's going to go. You have to watch the game to see how it's going to end.
Yeah. Antoine Reynolds, good evening, guys. New subscriber, huge fan of the chat. Do you all agree that much love that Bama should have beat Texas at home? That's why they are keeping us out. I think for me, a real quick answer to that, Antoine, yes. You know, and like we all said, Steve Sarkisian is letting that be his trump card. I mean, he's got a point to a certain extent. They beat us on the home field, new coordinators on both sides of the ball, new quarterback. You know, all just knew everything, and we still had a chance to win that game. We still took the lead in the fourth quarter. So, you know, if you want to take that as a W, I get it. You won, cool, but we're definitely playing better than Texas. We played Texas right now. We beat Texas. And that's not me being just a Bama fan. That's the truth.
Sean, put the film on right now, and you play our LSU game. Well, who before I even make that point, who would y'all say has been our strongest or our most difficult opponent? Complete opponent to this point? Texas, right?
Yeah, Texas.
Put Texas out the picture. Who's the next? Who's the team on our schedule that we have beaten since Texas that can go in and beat Texas right now? I can name 2 or maybe 3. I can name 3 right now.
I think Ole Miss gives them all they want.
Ole Miss gives them. LSU gonna give them everything they want because Jaden Daniels in that offense really can create fits with the lack on their defense. Jaden Daniels is a generational talent. He's proven it. He proved it against us. Even though we knocked him out, Jaden Daniels still had what you would want from your starting quarterback type of game, a Heisman contender type of game, statistically.
Yeah.
And then I honestly think, and this is just me personally, and I'm not being a fan, but I think a team like Mississippi State or Kentucky, they come in and they figure out and they find something that they can lean on to be effective. This Texas defense has been susceptible to the weakest of offenses. You talking about Rice hung with Texas for a whole three quarters. It was almost 3.5 quarters. Wasn't it Coach J was watching that game that weekend?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, this Texas team is not the Texas team that beat us. And even the Texas team that beat us, they didn't beat us. We beat ourselves. You give us them 14 points. You give us them 14 points, we win. You don't take away them 2 scores, we win. My boy Jonathan Hurst said he lost me on the last one. What last one? Lost you on what last one?
He probably talking about when you said Mississippi State and Kentucky would beat Texas.
Mississippi State. I'm pushing it there, but definitely Kentucky. The way they play,
they beat Arizona, and every committee member wants to value Arizona.
I get what you're saying.
Arizona.
Yeah,
I'm pushing it with Mississippi State because I'm talking as like we had questions about our team last year. Which team gonna show up? Mississippi State, Will Rogers and that offense back with Mike Leach, they're not in the position that air raid offense with Will Rogers was definitely more successful than this pro style that they tried to force on that Mississippi State offense this year.
I think
That's been the
Coach Smook,
difference.
I think the fans are when you say Texas, they keep thinking back to the Texas week 2 Texas. We talking
But
about
they're
Texas
not
today.
today.
Right.
They without
Yes.
Jonathan Brooks, without with the messed up. If Alabama lined up against Texas today, like you said, Coach Shawn, we blowing them out. I really feel like we could take Texas and put them in a game where we started off like we started off against Kentucky, Coach Jay. I really do.
Well, you know what the funny part is, if neither Texas or Alabama doesn't make the playoffs, we're playing each other in the Sugar Bowl. So that's and we're assuming if Texas goes out, and so we could have revenge against them sooner or later if we both don't make it in. But kind of going into like the last game before we kind of start talking about real quickly about Heisman Trophy voting, because man, these I've never seen the Heisman ranking
flip like it is.
It's been insane. But Georgia, Tennessee, real quick. Georgia's actually surprisingly they're -10 favorite. I have no idea why. I have no idea why that line isn't bigger. Maybe it will be bigger by Saturday. But -10, Georgia, Tennessee. What do you guys kind of think about that game?
Let me say this about that game.
Go
Georgia, in a perfect world, which this world ain't perfect, but Georgia should go in there and dominate Tennessee. For all the Georgia fans, don't think I'm saying you're gonna get upset. That's clearly not what I'm saying. Georgia should walk into Knoxville and dominate that team, and I hope you do. I'm not a Tennessee fan. My guys will tell you, Tennessee is that scratch that you can't reach for me. You know what I'm saying? I don't like Tennessee, bro. So y'all should win that game. But let me explain. Let me say this. Tennessee lost, and they're probably going to be a little more focused. It's easy to look over. If you play ball, and the guys know you got a big game in 2 weeks, you got opponents stuck in between. You out there playing your heart out, but it's just not, you're just not there, right? So Tennessee, that loss is probably going to make them even more focused this week going into this game. They probably had one of their best practices this week because of Georgia. They're going to fight Georgia. I watched Auburn do some things and was a little ahead of y'all defense, honestly. If Auburn had even a lick of offense, y'all have been in trouble that game, brother.
Talk to him, Sean.
Because I'm just giving y'all facts. It's a blueprint to beat Georgia, and Auburn was following it to a T, right? They just couldn't capitalize because their offense is god terrible, right? So I think Tennessee is going to be laser focused this week, man. Now that doesn't mean they're going to win the game,
right?
But I think they're going to fight y'all for a little while. They're going to kind of like Missouri. They're going to give you a fight, and then Georgia's talent will take over, and that's just what it is, I believe.
Not just their talent, man. That offense. It's not even Georgia's defense that scares me this season. Not even scares me. I respect that offense. I respect that offense because when Brock Bowers went down, I saw some things route conceptually, that I was like, okay, Mike Bobo might have grown. They don't give Mike Bobo enough credit for what he's doing at Georgia. To lose a key element like Brock Bowers and still be able to make. Honestly, I feel like Carson Beck has grown the most. The 2-3, he was 3 weeks without Brock Bowers or 2 weeks, 2 games, but 3 weeks. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2 games, but 3 weeks. They had a bye week, his initial. So I honestly feel like Beck and this offense is humming. Tennessee would definitely have to put up a crazy effort defensively.
They better run the ball.
And they on the offensive side, they have to be able to run the ball because that's the only way they're going to get the true one-on-ones on the outside. And I think Georgia, y'all DBs have been suspect for the past 3 or 4 years because y'all have had a off the charts front seven. There's no debating that. I'm talking about even when Jordan Davis was there, that front seven led by him and what he was doing, nobody was going to slow them down. But that secondary, when J-Mo was out there against that secondary,
eating them alive, bro.
Y'all wasn't gonna stop him. Literally, he a self-inflicted freak injury saved y'all from that national championship. And I know for a fact, y'all can say I'm just being a fan, but I talk to Georgia fans that know football, bro.
Yes,
that
they know.
I know. Yeah. Coach McGee, coached at Carver High School in Columbus, Georgia. I used to go to Coach McGee's house. When I played AAU ball in the summer, we used to go to Coach McGee's house for the barbecues and all that. Even he was back home a few weeks later after the game. them boys had J-Mo and Mechie, we might be in trouble. No DB was covering them.
He had
No
six
DB.
receptions, 6 for was it 85 when he got hurt?
85 yards in the first half.
Yeah. And we still had an 18-13 lead in the fourth quarter. To Bryce threw the pick to
man. So this not fandom talk. This is literally like
just
understanding.
Being honest. Just being
honest. Like, I'm glad that our defense was kind of balanced in how we were getting attacked early, especially against Texas. That exposed a lot of things on each level. I feel like we've improved. Georgia hasn't had that opportunity to improve because when they saw Missouri, if Missouri had a Jalen Milroe, Georgia loses.
Coach J, Coach Smook, do we have time to answer Kane Kirby's question? That's a real good question.
Oh, we got time, man. You know, I don't be caring about our time. It's on y'all.
I have to be quick so Coach J can get in there. Kane, listen to me real fast. You guys play a very, very, very hard man defense in the back, depending a lot on those DBs. Pattern match every once in a while as well. If you play Alabama like that with Jalen Milroe's running skills, he's going to have success against y'all. We play better secondaries than what you guys have. Texas secondary at the time we played them, I think, was playing better than y'all's playing right now, right? Did you see the Kentucky game when those guys were trying to be aggressive with our receivers? You see, what kept them from being all out aggressive is Jalen Milroe's feet. You know, your front seven is different than any front seven we faced since Texas at that time. But the play calling Alabama runs in the quarterback position, him not being a statue is going to give y'all some problems. Look at the Auburn game. We can score. Auburn couldn't. And you guys run that ISO blocking scheme, one-on-one, trying to maul people. That ain't going to work with Alabama. Kirby Smart even said that the last time we played y'all. You're going to mix it up and do some things. Now, you have Carson Beck. You can do it, right?
Yeah.
But that same ISO student body off the top, that ain't going to work against Alabama, bro. It never has.
Honestly, that's how we're built. Coach J, I don't want to jump in. Go ahead, take your perspective with this question, man, because this is a good question. I like Kane Kirby coming in with the questions, man. I love it.
No, I think it's going to be a very interesting one, man. It's going to be a very listen. You know how I am. Everything starts off with the trenches, and I'm telling you, man. What have we keep saying for the last 3 to 4 weeks? This Alabama offensive line is getting better. Caden Proctor's getting more comfortable because last time, he's been dealing with long rangey 6'5", 6'6" with long wingspan type guys. Why? Because his foot would stop working. His kick slide was off for the most part. He would whiff all the time. All of a sudden now he's getting a lot more comfortable. He's starting to trust the next man around him. All of a sudden now that quickness that we knew he had in high school is starting to come back a little bit more. The jab, the strength.
He's not lunging either.
No more lunging. Coach Shawn, when you said, oh my God, go ahead, Coach J. I'm sorry. I get excited when y'all do that.
I'm telling you, he's getting comfortable. Jaden Roberts. I mean, what are these Alabama players saying? This is one of the strongest players on the football team, and all of a sudden we all pretty much they told Jaden Roberts to be a mauler. You don't got to think about anything too much. You don't got to do all this reading. Just be a mauler. Go out there and just play. All of a sudden, Jaden Roberts, now he's starting to grasp the offense. Now he's starting to grasp the different concepts and the combo blocks. Sir. He's starting to grasp that now. So now all of a sudden you have him, and that's making JT Latham get a lot better. Really, the only issue I have with the offensive line is those inconsistent snaps.
And that's getting better.
Right, it's good.
Yeah.
And that's getting better. I only seen 2 last game. I watched the game 6 times since last week. I only saw 2 bad snaps. And you know what's crazy? If you go back to the interview when Jalen Milroe took accountability for the inconsistent snaps and how, he was his role, he was taking responsibility. He said that's how they practice. He doesn't want perfect snaps in the same spot. Jalen Milroe, that's how they practice. They've been practicing like that since the offseason. So his thing is he just wants it decent enough in his window to be able to catch it and start doing what he do. And if you look at how he's playing now, the time and the delay between those horrible snaps is almost non-existent. Because if you go back and look to our standards, to my standards, Seth McLaughlin would have had maybe 7 bad snaps this last game. But you go back and look where Milroe really had to come off platform and really search for the ball and look down at it to gather. It was only 2 plays. That's not killing your team when it's only 2 of those. When you say, and then off of those 2 plays, one of them was a 6-man pressure. So I can understand it, but I can see the improvement at the same time. So I'm excited, man. I feel like this is a game against Georgia. How do I think Bama will attack Georgia's defense? I think we're going to run at that defensive front like we did the first year. We run at them, if they can show that they can keep us behind the sticks early, we're going to use our protection, our 12-man personnel to create protection and create opportunities downfield. I don't like Georgia's secondary. It pisses me off because all that talent back there, and the only guy that I'm really scared of throwing the ball to right now is your Malachi Starks. That's the only person that's the only guy I'm scared of throwing it to right now. And I respect him because he came on last year kind of like what Caleb Downs is doing for us this year. And he's only getting better.
Yeah, he played with good leverage. Yeah,
every time. I mean, you could put him up at star, you could line him up at the free. You could, I mean, you could put him out in the boundary on the weak side and allow him to be responsible and cover like a veteran. So that's probably the only one. Lassiter is solid, but he's inconsistent like our Kool-Aid. You know, and a guy like Miro will eat a Lassiter up. He'll eat a Kool-Aid up. If Kool-Aid was lining up against, Miro said it himself. He'll rather throw against Kool-Aid than Arnold's side. So that tells you something.
Lassiter bite too. He bite a lot on certain routes. He bite a lot.
And you got a guy like Jermaine Burton who's familiar with these young guys, and he's peaking. Malik Benson, who hasn't been featured, he's just now starting to grasp it. He could turn around and have 2 100-yard games to end the season, and that be what he needs to solidify himself as a late first round, early second round wide receiver. He was already.
Remember, they also lost Jonathan Jamaz Johnson's gone, so now all of a sudden you got to have these young linebackers,
man,
like Jalen. Yep.
I'm not worried about their linebackers. That's one thing. I'm not even gonna lie. You got Schumann, you got Kirby. Them inside linebackers, they not out there unless they ready. That's one thing I miss about having Kirby at Alabama. We under Kirby, name an inside linebacker that was ever a question mark under Kirby when he was at Bama. Give me one. From
that was bad under him.
That was an ever question mark, like a real question mark. I know we talked about Trey DePriest, but Trey DePriest, he spot played until he had to be a starter, right? And the game he was a starter. That's what you get what I'm saying.
I don't think we really had. Yeah, we never really.
Kirby not letting you get out there and call his signals or his defensive coordinator signals unless you out there making plays. So, and I watched that boy play last week against Missouri. Was it? That was Missouri, right? When he had to start in front of for Ole Miss game.
Yeah,
they didn't miss a beat at the inside spot, man. I'm not worried about that. It's that secondary. We're going to have to expose that secondary. Create time for Miro to expose that secondary.
Remember, Georgia fans, before Coach Jay hopping here, you're not going to be able just to blitz Alabama like you would if Bryce was back there. Bryce looking to throw that thing. He's looking to throw. Jalen to get up out of there. He'll get up out of there on you, man. So you'll have some success. But Jalen Milroe will make you pay if you don't. It's like they say, if you come for it, you better not miss, because that cat gonna turn into a first down or more.
We appreciate all the Georgia fans in here, man. My God, there's a lot of Georgia fans in here. It's like, it is what it is, man. I wish this was like Twitch, and then we can just like after we were done with this, we could just raid all the way over to the Georgia channels, and we'd be like, what the hell is so many Bama people over here? That's what we got.
Y'all remember what happened to us on the way to our repeat? Y'all remember what happened?
Glenn Schumann's gone. I'm telling you, he's getting a lot of offers.
Yeah, same.
He's getting a lot of offers. A lot of their coaching staff, their assistant coaches are getting offers.
Yeah,
just like how we are.
Do you think Schumann is in the front seat for the A&M job, or
I think so. I think Glenn Schumann. Yeah,
he might get an NFL job. For what I've heard,
facts, Coach Jay.
He might actually get that NFL job.
Glenn Schumann is a very high commodity, and shout out to him, man. That's what it's all about.
He was on our short list for D coordinators. We was pushing him, even though he was under Kirby. We was pushing him hard this past offseason. The fact that Kevin Steele was, I think we were giving Kevin Steele was number one priority. I think we gave him that space to kind of decide if he was going to stay coaching, because we know Kevin Steele he's more than proven with his resume, but Schumann is definitely a high commodity. I wouldn't be surprised if not even the A&M job, but I feel like he'll go like Landon did, go out of conference, test the waters a little bit, because if he decides to come back to the SEC and says I just want to be a defensive coordinator, he's gonna get top dollar.
Coach Jay, tell the Georgia fans, since we're playing them in a few weeks, what time are we on, so they all can come in here deep and we can go back and forth and have a good time, man.
What time are we on? Because we're not on live TV. Instead, they want to have the Florida State game. That's going to be a live TV. They're playing Alabama, but I think
I mean the show, so they can come back.
Oh, the show. Oh, I'm sorry. No, yeah. So yeah, the post game show. What time are we on? Like 6?
No, post game is right after the game. Post game is right after the game.
This one here. This one.
Oh, this show right here?
Yeah, so they can come back to this show next
week. Next week it's originally at 7. It's originally an hour early. We started an hour late. We had some not technical difficulties, but not Coach Kyle, but Kyle Henderson was doing another premiere. Very insightful premiere on this college football playoff committee. And really, honestly, how I came into this show with a lot of my points, because I'm like Coach Shawn, I get tired of watching that crap. That after week 2. And I came on the show trying to maintain that unbiased stance and how, things play out. But, man, this committee is clueless. But I will post this here, chat. If you want to get in and talk some good game day football with myself, Coach Jay, I think Coach Shawn to be able to get in this weekend and be a little bit more active. I posted a Discord link. Discord is a free app, and it's basically like GroupMe and all those other text apps. But this app, it allows us to, share the gifts, share the video clips a lot more smoother. It's universal. You can put it on your desktop, your PC, your phone. And to me, you can get on video chat easier. We get in that voice chat. You could talk. But that's the link to my Coach Smook network. We use that. We do game chats for all Alabama games, but we get in the college football lounge and just talk college football. So the big talk this weekend is going to be Texas, Iowa. We're going to be in there talking Texas, Iowa as college football fans, not as Bama fans, but as college football fans. Come on in, join up. It's a good time, y'all. Coach Jay.
Yes, absolutely. So, guys, before we wrap up, I do want to kind of get to this point. Because this is, I don't know why this is actually blowing up, at least on my Twitter feed right now. But we got to talk about Heisman hopefuls real quick before we kind of get out of here real quick. Of course, this is definitely going to be one of the most heated ones because very similar to the college football playoff rankings, these change by Vegas almost every single week. So, of course, first place right now, Michael Penix Jr., second place, Jaden Daniels. Third place is actually Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know how, but he's number 3. Number 4 is Jordan Travis, and then number 5 is Bo Nix. And this is basically just looking at the Heisman Trophy candidate tracker.
Who was leading?
Michael Penix Jr. Yeah. He's there actually leading. So, guys, your thoughts about the Heisman tracker, and do you agree with it or you kind of disagree with this?
Where was Jaden Daniels?
Second.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels to me I know Michael Penix has had some great games, and maybe it's just me not really being a Pac-12 guy, and I've seen him play obviously, but I hadn't seen him play, if you feel what I'm saying. I've seen him play, but I hadn't seen him play. So Jaden Daniels has been the best. Even better than Quinn. Jaden Daniels has been the best weapon we've went against all season.
2 years straight. 2 years straight, honestly.
Yeah, he beat us in LSU. I don't see how you can give it to, I can see where they're going to be sweet on Michael Penix for several reasons. Pac-12, the guy been there for 13 years, kind of like Bo Nix. I get it. But Jaden Daniels, to me, is the best quarterback in college football right now. Men lie, women lie, but numbers don't in that regard. So, I don't know, man. Jaden Daniels a bust to me.
Yeah, not is he only the best quarterback, but Jaden Daniels is the best college football player in college football right now today. Like we were giving Bryce Young that same sentiment 2 years ago. Will Anderson at some point in time was getting that same sentiment. I think Jaden Daniels is the guy, when you have him on the field, he really is your team. And anytime, to me, that's your Heisman. Derrick Henry, when he won, he was our offense. Everything built off of Derrick Henry's success. Mark Ingram, when he won it, everything built off of his success. Bryce Young, everything built off of his success. So when you have a team where everything is built off of that one player's success, when you missing Jaden Daniels, you don't have LSU this year. You get what I'm saying? Michael Penix, he's not replaceable either, but Washington isn't a team that even presents a challenge without that type of quarterback. So I can see where they're giving him the slight edge. But at the end of the day, Jaden Daniels, he did it against us, man. We were top-ranked defense, top 25 at the time he saw us. Michael Penix ain't paid nobody near the top 25 as far as defensive rating. So overall defensive ratings, I don't know, man. I'm starting to think stats don't even matter at this point. It's just about whoever could get the most media attention, whether it's rankings or best player here. That's who's gonna start getting the hype and get the award. So Jaden Daniels definitely should be number one in that race.
I absolutely hate this ranking for Michael Penix Jr. to be number one. I'm gonna tell you why. Can any of you guys name me the last time a Heisman Trophy winner struggled against a one-win football team?
Coach Jay, I didn't want to say it because I was going to close my computer and walk off, but that's crazy that they're even.
You can't.
You can't. That's good information.
No,
wow.
You can't. There has not been one Heisman Trophy winner that has ever struggled against a one-win football team like Michael Penix Jr. did.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was talking about his impact and how he had his Heisman moment against Oregon. Well, what about the non-Heisman moment when he struggled badly against a poor Arizona State football squadron that has one win? That still to this day, one win at home in a night game situation, and they did not win because of you. They almost lost because of you. They won based off of their defense. They won because of a bogus pass interference call, which was picked up, which should have stayed. It was ridiculous to me. Again, I understand Michael Penix Jr. He is top 5 in almost every statistical quarterback category, leading the league in the country in passing yards. Completion percentage is one of the highest in the country. QBR, one of the highest in the country. Touchdown to interception ratio is definitely up there as well. But again, you're talking about the Pac-12 overall. I mean, it's a quarterback conference. DJ Uiagalelei is putting up great numbers. Bo Nix is putting up monster numbers. Caleb Williams, which isn't even in the conversation, is putting up just as many insane numbers as he's doing last year. Shedeur Sanders, top 5 in the nation right now in passing yards right now. So to me, Jaden Daniels is the clear guy. Number 2 behind him would be Bo Nix. I would put Bo Nix there only because he's been consistent every single game as far as his yard,
he's played well.
As far as production, Facts. QBR. He has, even the loss against Washington, he played a good enough game to still, if he would have won that game, it would have been a Heisman moment for Bo Nix. But Jaden Daniels, 350 passing yards, over 200 rushing yards, the first quarterback in NCAA history to ever do that. It's insane.
Crazy,
he's literally
man.
Putting up video game numbers, guys. He's on pace to doing something that one of the quarterback, ironically a Heisman, and Kyler Murray did, which was he's on pace for 4,000 yards and 1,000 yards rushing. Kyler Murray is the only quarterback to do that. Yep,
yeah, and
he's actually.
But Jaden did it in the SEC. He did it in the SEC.
They're gonna penalize him because his team.
But the thing is, man, even in a down year in the SEC, you still have. I think we have 4 defenses ranked in the top 25. Jaden Daniels has seen 2 of those defenses and put up exceptional numbers against ours included. I was just looking at Michael Penix stats. How you have a Heisman winner that went 2 games with 0 passing touchdowns as a quarterback? 0 passing touchdowns in multiple games. But you 15 points against ASU. Was it raining? Was it snowing? Nope. Was it what? No, it was in the middle of it was the early October, perfect college football weather night. And he goes in there and doesn't even lead his team to 15 points. His defense had to doggone lead his team to 15 points. He didn't have a rushing touchdown or a doggone passing touchdown. He actually had 2 interceptions and had -1 rushing yards. How are you even in the conversation still against the Arizona State team, like you said, Coach Jay, that lost one, that has 1 win? This is horrible, man. The college football is becoming the NFL, and that's pissing me off because college football used to be my sanctuary when it came to football.
Yeah, it's different.
But all this committee and stuff getting into it, all this politics getting into it, it's starting to piss me off, man. Alabama football is the only thing keeping me sane right now, and they trying to take that from me.
Oh,
Coach Shawn, give me your thoughts about it.
Man, I just believe, and maybe it's because we played against the guy. Jaden Daniels has been the best player as far as offensive weapon, especially at quarterback, that I've seen this year. What he did to us, he's been doing to everybody. I mean, last year too, like Coach Smook said. So I don't know how it's even really close. It just really goes to show you in college football, it's not pure as you think. It's always some bias somewhere in there. People used to say the same thing about Alabama. Well, Alabama shouldn't have did this and got in this. How biased is it if Alabama got in these things and won it?
And actually won it.
Somebody was smarter than you. That's what that means. Whoever put them in there over what you think, and they actually be different if they got in like TCU and got their head kicked in by 50-something points. I mean, come on, man. Money is ruining college football, and it's just what it is.
And I keep alluding back to that point. That's why I feel like if Alabama goes in and beats Georgia, they know that Bama fan bases travel. We go to that stadium in Arizona every time they have one, and we pack the stadium 52-48, whatever the percentage is, whatever the split is. We always do it, no matter where it is. They're not going to keep a one-loss Bama team out of there. SEC champ Bama, but also Jaden Daniels. Somebody just seen the appointment. If we had Jaden Daniels, that was a clear-cut favorite for the Heisman. All because it would put him in a undefeated. We killing Texas with Jaden Daniels. I ain't gonna lie. We killing Texas with Jaden Daniels week 2. This team, Isaiah Bonds, Jermaine Burton, probably your top 2 wide receivers in the country. Malik Benson, number 5. You probably got 3 800+ yard receivers.
Yards.
You get what I'm saying? Like this, running backs might not be happy because Jaden Daniels is there. You get what I'm saying? Unless they catch him a lot of backfield. So, but just to get back on track, y'all, college football playoffs. I like I said from the beginning, we went out, we put pressure on the committee, we put pressure on the other teams to handle their business, and a big win against Georgia is definitely the key into the playoffs at this point. You know, a loss by Texas, a loss by Oregon or Washington, Michigan, Ohio State plays itself out. Florida State still has to see Florida last weekend of the season, and yes, Florida looks trash, but rivalry games, all that crap goes out the window.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's still a pretty nice path for us. I think we just continue to stick with our guns and run it like we need to run it. We'll be straight. We'll be straight, y'all. Realistically.
Yeah. Coach Shawn, your last thoughts before we wrap up?
Just everybody tune in to us, man. If you in the chat right now, tune in here. 7:00 next week, Central Standard Time. 8:00 if you're in the East. Tune in with us. Bring your other fans from your other fan bases. You know, we just like to have a good time, man. Go back and forth, compare people that know football and see what happens, especially if we playing one another.
Yeah,
Come on back in, man. Next week, same time, right here. College Football Talk with the coaches.
Oh yeah, and Wednesday, like I said, I'm gonna do my best to try to get some people in here as well. And if you guys want to try to maybe have a conversation, maybe you guys want to represent your fan base and try to get in here, definitely hit us up on our social medias. I'm Jan716. Of course, Coach Smook, he'll tell you his. Coach Shawn will also do the exact same. Hit us up on our social medias because who knows? We're open to the conversation. I think we're definitely open now for the talk. As you guys can see, there's a lot of Georgia fans in the chat. We appreciate every single one of you guys to be in here because again, it just represents, this is not, typically this is not a post-game show. This is not Monday Night with the Coaches where we're just simply talking Bama. We're simply talking college football with the rest of you guys. So the more fan bases that can come here and can really represent this channel and it can really help grow what Kyle Henderson and what we're all trying to do here, the better it's going to be for, honestly, for the future of this channel. So, and I would like to have fun interacting with a lot of you guys. It's fun interacting with a lot of you guys, especially because you'll join, there's like, I think one or two, I know Minecraft, it was a couple people that joined Coach Mook's network specifically from here. Yeah, specifically from here. So that's it's gonna be a lot of trash talk and just it's gonna be a lot of fun with you guys. But coaches definitely kind of tell you where they can find you at, especially when they can hit you up, especially when it comes to opportunities like this.
Me real quick on Twitter at JMHO Sports Talk. Just my humble opinion. Tap in with me. If you see my boy TJ LSU Dad, tag him in this. Send it to him. Tell him we need to get him on the show. Love his candor. Love his insight. The football prophet, as he called himself. Shout out to TJ. Shout out to all the LSU Georgia fans. Tap in with us, man. At JMHO Sports Talk on Twitter.
Facts. And you all know you can find me at Coach Smook on every platform. Just about Smook, you stretching or trying to steal Marvin's move. Hey, you know what I'll be doing, man. I'll be chilling. But yeah, at Coach Smook on every platform. This Friday, catch us live on the Bama Standard. We'll be doing live game preview simulation for Alabama versus Chattanooga this week because I'm not overlooking Chattanooga, but this team is going to perform. My simulation is going to show that same type of energy. I plan on rotating guys through this week. Hopefully, I'll get my bros on for a 15-minute segment while we playing through the second or second quarter, third quarter. And let's get takes. Y'all can hear takes about this weekend, college football. I'm going to be doing an interview style live game preview, create a different dynamic. But definitely catch us, man. Check my social media to get the links. and continue to support us, man. I think I have a Bleacher Report segment tomorrow. I'm waiting on word to see if they're gonna allow me to do the last one of this month to have my bros on. I really want to continue to get us this exposure, man, because you fans are really supporting, and we're getting some reach. I'm expecting us to be at 1K by the end of the season. All of us 1K followers on Twitter, all that type of stuff, because y'all love to interact. Coach Jay and Coach Shawn is getting real active on Twitter, y'all. I don't know if y'all been picking up. If y'all don't follow him, hurry up and get on the train, because he been getting real active and being real petty with a lot of these other fans, and I love it, man. And Coach Jay, he's like the slide eye for this team. Like he not gonna get out there and cuss you out and spit in your face. He gonna give you he gonna give me and Coach Shawn the ammunition to cuss you out and spit in your face. And that's
I'll just show it. I'm gonna
yeah, Coach Jay come with them facts.
He throw it to you like this. Look,
yeah, come with them facts. Yeah. I love watching Coach Jay's rants when the Bills do bad.
Oh,
man.
Yes.
It'd be awesome,
I finally caught one.
It'd be awesome,
this weekend, bro.
I'm telling you, it'd be awesome.
So yeah, y'all just continue to support, man. We definitely appreciate y'all, and we all excited, man. This is genuine right here. And, it's very few people that I've been able to work with in the past year when it comes to this content and Alabama football coverage that I enjoy coming on camera and chilling with. Like, I feel like me and my bros, I know that we have never met in person, but I guarantee you when we do meet in person, y'all gonna see it. Y'all gonna see it. So just continue to support. We appreciate y'all, and roll tide, y'all.
Shout out to Kyle Henderson.
Yep, definitely shout out to Kyle Henderson. Oh, I forgot to introduce mine. Jan Sports, Jan 716. And like I said, those rants that you're hearing about, genuine rants from me. And Duke would tell you too. I don't know if Duke's in here, but he'll tell you.
Yeah. Duke be hyping you up too.
Yeah, he be awesome, bro. He be getting me started, man, every single time. But guys, that's about it for the most part, guys. College football talk with the coaches. Catch us on the post game after the Chattanooga game. We'll be fresh right there, kind of giving you our thoughts and our insights. And I'll try to do my best to watch it. I got to get the SEC Premium or the ESPN Plus crap because it won't be on live cable. So I'll do my best to try to do that so we can definitely catch up on it. But yeah, make sure to catch us on the post game. And then of course Monday Night Quarterback, and then Wednesday night as always football talk with the college football coaches. This is Jant Sports, Coach Smook, Coach Shawn. Roll Tide, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Roll Tide.
Now we gotta wait for the spinning wheel of doom. Because this thing is taking